Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Metabolism and Menopause podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I am your host and CEO of Vitality OET. We are a women's nutrition, health, and fitness company that focuses predominantly on women's hormones, particularly as they start going through perimenopause and onwards. We know that you start experiencing so many changes in this time of your life, whether it be hot flashes, night sweats, irritability, brain fog, or that waking around the middle that seems to have come out of absolutely nowhere despite you not changing anything. So you go back to those tried and true methods of cutting calories, cutting carbs, doing a bunch of cardio, yet nothing seems to be working. In fact, it feels like you're putting in all this effort and you're moving in the opposite direction. But we know now that your body is inherently different, not you're going through these hormonal changes than you were prior to them. So our mission here at Vitality is to really help you understand how your body changes in this time of your life so you can reach those health and fitness goals, feel in control and at home in your body again, live a life full of vitality, and really understand how to take care of this new body of yours. So today we're going to be talking all about summertime. Before I dive into that, I do want to remind you that this Friday is the last day to sign up and enter to win 3 months of free coaching with us one-to-one. And there's only a few select prizes of a discount on coaching as well. So make sure you apply. It's free to apply. So you've got nothing to lose. So today, what I'm going to be talking about is navigating summer nutrition because, summer is a fun time. It's such a great time. The weather is warm. We can get outside, enjoy that wonderful, beautiful sunshine. However, for many of us, it means more trips, typically with kids, right? Or going to the cottage or the cabin. Maybe you've got some vacations. There's great summer festivities. Those usually involve like some barbecues, some beers, maybe some patio drinks, my favorite. And of course, enjoying that time with friends. And it is meant to be enjoyed. But of course, with all that fun, we can come with a lot of stress, right? We still have these goals that we might be trying to achieve. And we're still trying to track through it all, right? While still trying to have fun, right? Which can be kind of tough. So today, I really want to talk to you about all the ways to help you stay on track while you're traveling in the summertime, or you have all these events or vacations coming up. And, a lot of summer events do come with movement to different houses, maybe some different cities, different countries for some people, which is really exciting. There's a lot of women in our program right now going to Greece, which I'm super, super jealous of. I've been obsessed with that ever since seeing Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I need to go one day. But again, it's going to be more difficult to try to stay on track or, kind of stick to your plan. It's not impossible, but it's definitely going to be more challenging. So there's 2 timelines that we really want to talk about here. And we talked about this with the women in our community, and they found it very helpful. So I thought I would share kind of the same topics that we talked about with them, with you, because I think everyone can benefit. So the 2 timelines that we're going to really talk about that are going to help set you up for success are pre-vacation and then during vacation, or, pre all these events back to back and then during the events themselves. So let's start with the pre-summer holidays or the pre-events or whatever it might be. The very, very first thing that you are going to want to do is to pre-plan or pre-pack, bring whatever you can wherever you are going. If you are flying somewhere, I fly a lot. I live in Canada and I fly to the States almost every month, sometimes twice. Right now I'm on a little break because of baby. But I fly a lot. So I've come up with lots of tips and tricks and things that are very helpful to help me stay on track, even if I'm not being super granular about tracking, but helping me stay, where I want to be physique-wise and things like that. So if you're flying somewhere for summer holidays, you can typically bring pre-packaged foods through security if you're flying. Things like protein bars, protein powders, jerky, granola bars, all those things can go through security even across borders. We love, love, love things like jerky, energy bars, things like that. The Cliff bars, popcorn is a very popular one. Even oatmeal packets, protein powders, all that kind of stuff. Avoid fresh foods if you are crossing borders and you aren't super confident about what the rules are, just because I don't want you to get in trouble, right? So that's something to be mindful of. And one of the best things that you can do is always pack an empty water bottle to fill up once you get through security, because the cost of a water bottle at the airport is insane. Like, I cannot believe, to get like a small bag of popcorn and a water bottle, how expensive it is. I'm like, this is not a full meal, but you're paying me for one, which is insane. So having the water bottle will help you stay hydrated, because flying does inherently dehydrate you. Having like the electrolyte Noom tablets or Element T are also really great. I always travel with those, just to help with your hydration levels, to make sure everything's functioning properly. Otherwise, you can end up with like, some edema and some swelling, just feeling uncomfortable, bloated, more constipation, that kind of stuff. So just having some electrolytes can make a huge difference in your water when you are traveling. Once you are at the airport, you can grab foods after security. Look for go-to places, like if you're in Canada, Tim Hortons, in the States, Chick-fil-A. There's lots of places in the terminals that you can go to, right? And these places typically are going to have some better options than sit-down restaurants for like, macro-friendly type foods, and more customizable options as well. If you are grabbing snacks at store stands, there are way more healthier options now than there would have been a couple years ago, which is great. So some of our go-tos, again, are going to be jerky, protein bars, fresh packets of veggies or fruit. I always love grabbing like little fruit cups, or yogurts even. There's even like salads and some sandwiches now. If you have time to wander around and like look at the kiosks, you can usually find like trail mix and nuts as a go-to. Honestly, I just pack that from home because it's going to be cheaper and bring that with me. But you can find like turkey pepperoni sticks, string cheese, or the Baby Bell cheese, which is really good. Rice cakes, I typically bring those from home. You can find like deli meat or little like mini charcuterie boards. But again, if you can bring that stuff from home, bring it from home, because it's going to be way more expensive at the airport, right? But even things like chicken nuggets and wraps, like really try and see where you can prioritize fiber and protein. Those are going to be the two that really, really help you out a lot. So with the airport, that's kind of my go-tos when it comes to flying. But I mean, you can pack pretty much anything, right? Like I used to, when I was doing a lot of traveling, I would buy like a pizza the day before I would like fly, just like a small one. And then I would take my cold pizza slices with me. And typically you could warm it up in a microwave, or I'd eat it pretty quickly afterwards once I'm past security. Not the best option, but definitely more cost friendly, right? And then I would find like a salad to have with it, or things like that, to help me through, because again, the cost adds up in airports very, very quickly. I also love taking my water bottle and asking for a large ice water at like Starbucks or whatever coffee shop there is in the airport. And then I just put that ice into my water bottle, and the water obviously, but then it'll keep my drinks cooler. And I find it easier to drink water when it's cold personally. I'm more likely to drink water than if it's room temperature. So that is flying. Now, what if you're driving? Lots of us are taking road trips with kids, right? I remember doing that lots myself. So if you are driving, bring a cooler and a bag of snacks to ensure that you are able to stay on track wherever you are, whatever you are doing, whatever options you're presented with, you have some options. So in a cooler, you have so many things that you can do. I used to travel for work. When I worked for the health region, I would go to surrounding communities and run all the chronic disease exercise management programs. And I would be in a car anywhere from 3 to 5 hours a day, which is a lot, right? So I always had a little cooler or a lunch kit with food. So the snacks that you have or the meals that you have, you can be so much more flexible because you can toss anything with you. Right? So you can have veggies, you can have cut up fruit, maybe you have some prepped chicken, you can have turkey pepperoni sticks, you can have dried fruit, cheese strings, fruit and veggies, yogurts, single serve cottage cheese cans can even work. I know a lot of the girls, like that work for us, like the coaches. A lot of them like having like the canned chicken or the canned tuna. You can have like little pinwheel wraps. Like there are so many options that you can have. Sometimes you just gotta be a little bit creative. And like, honestly, when you're cooking, it's like, can I bring this with me? Yeah, probably. Like I used to bring yogurt with some fruit in a separate container and then granola because I didn't like it to get soggy. And then I would like put it all together. I used to do like veggies with meat and cheese and like instead of using a cracker, just to help me get some fiber and more water as well. And then my carbs would come more from like my fruit, my oats, my sandwich, or whatever like my meal was, as opposed to my snacks as much. So you can figure out what kind of works best for you, right? Again, if you can, and if you have somewhere far to go, trying to stop every 3 to 4 hours to get your legs moving can be very helpful. If you're not the one driving, stay active in the car with seated exercises or like wiggling around a bit, or even just like knitting and stuff like that, right? Like little things just to kind of keep you engaged and moving and things like that. Just don't distract your driver. And if you're driving, please don't be knitting, right? We don't want that. And as always, stay hydrated, bring water. Electrolyte tabs are amazing. But a lot of the time we mistake thirst for hunger. So making sure you're adequately hydrated can make a big difference. And then you're not constipated, because a lot of us get constipated and bloated when we're traveling. Water can help so much. We don't realize how much traveling dehydrates us. The next one is to try and get a schedule or make your schedule clear ahead of time. So communication is always going to be the best route here. Even if some people choose not to listen, you still have your routine, right? So if you don't have set plans during the time you're away, then make a schedule for yourself. Typically, there are going to be events happening with family or friends in the afternoon, right? So communicating a morning routine to keep yourself on track might work great. So for example, if you're visiting family, let's say, let them know that you're going to the gym in the morning. And if they want to come with you, sweet. If not, that's fine. Or maybe you're going for a walk. Or you can let them know not to worry about breakfast because you brought your own, but you're happy to have lunch and dinner with them. Like there's lots of ways to do this. Just make sure that you are communicating that. So when we talked about this in our group call, we were all making fun of Coach Cariana a little bit. So we've all traveled quite a bit together now to different conferences and events and things like that, which has been great. And we stayed in a big Airbnb together. And everyone's like pretty much a morning person, except Cariana. She needs her morning routine. She'll come downstairs, she'll grab her breakfast and her coffee, she'll go back upstairs, she'll eat, she'll work. She kind of has her own routine. We let her do what she needs to do. And then the rest of us will like have a nice big breakfast and we'll sit downstairs. We all kind of have like our own meal preferences. Like we go when we grocery shop and we all have our different staples, but we all have our routine in terms of what that looks like. Like Coach Hannah has a very set bedtime routine. So she will have certain electrolytes, or maybe she'll have certain teas, things like that to wind down. She'll stretch. So all of us have our own routines and we figure that out, and it's good. And we communicate that like, hey, I'm going for a walk in this morning. Does anyone want to come with me? Oh, we're going to do a team workout together. That'll be so fun. Like we figure out what that kind of looks like, right? Just so you have some aspect of a routine, even if it's not what you do at home, just something to kind of keep you on track, if that makes sense. So consistency and routine are very, very helpful in summer months, especially summer holidays. We're out of regular routine. Our kids are home and be running the household, when they want to eat at different times or they want a snack, and then you're more likely to snack, right? Like it can make it tough. So we need to work on creating some sort of routine that you can actually stick to. So we always like to recommend a morning routine that you could do anywhere. Like doesn't matter where you are, you can do it. So maybe that's waking up, brushing your teeth and doing 5 minutes of stretching or some gratitude or some deep breathing, right? Maybe it's drinking some water and journaling. Something in your routine that that you can do no matter where you are, you can do it, that you can stick to anywhere that you are. Okay. Another way to set up a schedule is to make sure to continue workouts. And this doesn't mean it has to be the exact same workout that you would do regularly, right? Because you might not have access to everything. You might not have access to a gym. You might just have dumbbells at a hotel. Maybe you're just at a house or like, at the lake. There's probably no gyms around there. So maybe all you have is bands and body weight. So figuring out what that looks like, and you're still doing some movement 2 to 3 days a week, whatever that looks like for you. But for example, like our team, when we all travel together, we are, we're all very active, right? Like we like to work out. We enjoy that. However, we don't stick to the same routine, because if we're at a conference, we know we got to be there from 8 till 5 every day. And depending on where we're staying, I might have to leave at 7. So for me, with time changes and stuff, very rare I'm getting up earlier. I always prioritize my sleep. Very important for me. That's always number one. But so in the afternoons, or we always stay a couple of days later to all hang out, we'll go find a new gym to go all work out at. And our workout doesn't look the way it usually does. We're doing just fun stuff, trying out different machines we might not have access to at home, and just moving in our body in a way that feels fun. We're not pushing PRs, unless your coach Beth, I think she PR'd on a deadlift when we were in Florida all together, which was really, really awesome for her. That was not going to be me. But you're still just moving and exploring and enjoying movement. You're still doing things that are good for your body, even if it's not the routine you would normally stick to if you were at home. It's usually just a few days or a week. So getting something in is always better than nothing. And it helps you stay in that routine of I prioritize moving my body. I'm a person who prioritizes moving their body. That's also going to help you stay, more alert. Your body will feel better. You'll be more awake, less stressed. It's great. The next thing is, what can we do while we are on summer holidays once we've gotten to our destination? So you've planned, you've created your schedule, you've researched the gyms, you packed your snacks, you know where you're going. So now what are we doing? You arrive at your destination. The very first thing that I always do when I travel, especially to the States, is check out my favorite grocery stores. Oh my goodness, you guys have so much better stuff in the States than in Canada. I love hitting up Target. I love hitting up Whole Foods. I love my Trader Joe's, even Publix. You guys just have so much better brands, and the produce is amazing, and I love it. So first thing we do is we go to the store, even if it's just to get snacks. So head to a grocery store, find some foods that take minimal food prep or minimal cooking. So it can be tough going back to, visit family, because they might not eat the way that you do, right? Or they don't have access to some of the stuff that you want, or they don't buy some of your staples, right? So having those yourself can make it so much more handy to, stay on track. Just swing by a grocery store on the way in. Not hard at all. So way we like to kind of think about this is start thinking of easy proteins, carbs, fruits, and veg that you can have or add to meals. So protein, pre-cooked sausages, deli meat, pre-cooked chicken, shrimp cocktail, super easy to toss in a wrap or a salad, for example, rotisserie chicken, pre-cooked chicken. So that can be cut up already, because you can buy pieces that are already almost little chicken strips, right? Pre-cooked meats from grocery store hot bars. Love Whole Foods for that. Chicken nuggets. You can have hard-boiled eggs, dairy products like cheese, yogurt, single serve yogurts and cottage cheeses, protein bars, protein powders. You can do canned tuna. You can do canned chicken as well. There are so many different options. I am big for planning my breakfast first. And one of the proteins that I always get are my protein waffles, the Kodiak ones, because you cannot get them in Canada. So when I go to the States, that is my little treat, and I love it so much. So I'll usually have 1 or 2 waffles in the morning. And then I also buy the frozen sausage patties that you can just defrost in the microwave to easily pack 20 to 30 grams of protein in my breakfast, no problem. Then we move on to our easy grab carbs. So this can be microwave rice, or the mini, the microwave, individual rice little cups. They even have pastas for that. You can do rice cakes, bagels, bread, microwave pasta, frozen waffles. Again, love quinoa, cereals, oat packets, or oat cups. I like the Kodiak muffin cups as well. I'll usually go to Whole Foods and they'll have like the little individual like quinoa salads. I really like those. So if I know that I'm going to be at a conference and usually food around conferences isn't the best. So I will buy like the quinoa salads and then some like pre-cooked chicken skewers and just like put that into little containers to separate. I love the chicken empanadas from Whole Foods as well. So I'll do that. There's so many things that you can look for, especially if you hit up somewhere that has like a hot bar or have some of those like, salads and things like that are already cooked up, and then you just got a microwave, which is incredibly handy to help you when you're in a pinch. So those are always great options. And then cut up fruit. I'm always looking for like mangoes, berries. Love having those in the morning with my protein waffles and my sausage in the morning, because then I know I have some fiber from my fruit. I have some fiber in my waffles as well. It's high in protein. So I know I'm starting off the day with X amount of fiber and usually around 30 grams of protein. So even if the rest of my day I don't have a ton of control over, I know that I've like really set myself up for success to more likely get enough protein in my day. The other thing too is like if you bring like the quinoa salads and things like that with you for lunch and some snacks, so like whatever those look like for you, whether that's like some turkey pepperoni sticks, meat sticks, jerky, maybe there's some trail mix in there, some yogurt, whatever that looks like, cheese strings. You should have seen our fridge when we were in Florida. We had so much cheese in there because it's such a go-to for all of us. So we ate a lot of cheese on our trip to Florida. But having those things, then it's like, okay, I know that I have at least one or two snacks. I have my breakfast and maybe like lunch every other day packed for these events. You set yourself up for success where you don't have to worry nearly as much in the evening. You have far more flexibility because you've already hit a good chunk of your protein. So as long as you kind of prioritize protein in the evening, you're going to be fine. You have room, lots of wiggle room, right? And then of course, fruit and veg. So steamable veggie packs, mini bell peppers and cucumbers are great. Frozen veggies like green beans, pre-cut fruit, my favorite. Veggie options are great too. So getting like a fruit tray or a veggie tray, super easy. And then like some no mess fruit, like, apples and grapes, banana, oranges, very easy to grab and go. So having those handy is great. Also watermelon. I'm a huge fan of pre-cut watermelon. When we were in Florida, I don't even know how much watermelon I had. It was actually insane, but it was so good. And much better to have that than like, reach for some other things. And it kept me hydrated, which was great. So figure out what those things are. Like for us, especially as a team, we have found it very easy to figure out what those staples are because we've done so much traveling now. We know what our go-tos are, right? So figuring out what that is for you, then it becomes easy once you have your staples and like the go-to grocery stores that you go to, it becomes so much easier, but you just need to start, right? That's the biggest thing. So that's setting you up for success that way. But what about tracking with nutrition while you're traveling, right? That's something that people are like, I really don't want to, should I? There's a few different things to consider. So like our clients, like they're going to figure out with their coach, is tracking the best option for them or not. If you are in a reverse diet and slowly increasing your calories or focusing on your health, you can probably get away without tracking, just being mindful and having like some sort of game plan to set yourself up for success, like the breakfasts and things like that. If you're in the beginning stages of like fat loss or in a fat loss phase, tracking is probably going to be necessary just because it's very easy to, not stay on track or give yourself a little bit too much wiggle room, and then you're not going to see the changes anyways, or you can just come out of your fat loss phase. I don't typically recommend someone being in a fat loss phase when traveling. So really assessing your calendar and seeing what's doable, because some trips you might be able to, right? But other ones, it's like if you're at a cottage and you're having barbecues all the time and you've got big events and stuff, it might not be as easy. Right? So it's really taking inventory of where you're at and what's realistic for you, and then adjusting your expectations to that accordingly. Because if you're not going to be tracking, fat loss is going to be more challenging. So that's just to be aware of. So talking with your coach, if you have a coach, is going to be really important. However, things that you can do One is do your research. Use the internet to look up the restaurants or eating places that are in your area. See if you can find nutrition facts, menu builders. Some places have a website where you can build the meal and then it'll spit out all the nutrition for you, which is great. Or even an online menu that you can, prepare ahead of time with tracking. So you can pre-track a little bit. That way you know what you're getting ahead of and you know what flexibility you have for the rest of your day. The next one is if you are eating out, eat at familiar places if you can. If you aren't worried about eating new foods where you are, pick places that you are familiar with so that you know how to track those things because you've done it before, right? And this can include really easy fast food places like Subway, even McDonald's, or go-to chain restaurants you've been to like Chipotle. I always say Chipotle, and Taylor gets mad at me. He says I'm too smart to put the L before the T because that's not where it goes. So I always have to think very hard that it's Chipotle. But why is that so hard to say? Why? Sorry, sidebar, but that's a great place to eat. Very easy to track. Information's all online. If you're eating out, eat at places that are easier to track to make better choices. So this can be restaurants with a self-serve salad bar, for example, or places that you can get fresh foods like seafood with a side, or maybe you're getting steak in a side. Even tracking a burger is a lot easier than other things, right? So trying to figure out what that looks like meals that you can kind of piece out what each thing is, does make it a little bit easier to track compared to, a stew or a soup or something like that, right? Tips for eating out: double protein, double water. Always stay hydrated. Drink lots of water in between your meals, not too close to mealtime because that will affect your digestion and can actually make your blood sugar spike. So try and drink water throughout the day. And then at meals, if you can, double protein. When I go to Subway or anything, I always get extra protein because again, it's going to help you stay full longer. Protein tends to be the thing that we struggle with the most when we're traveling. So ordering extras of protein can be very helpful for you to help reach those goals. Cause sometimes you'll get some pasta and there's 4 little shrimp on it, right? So we need to get some more protein in. So being mindful of that when you're making food choices, make sure you're choosing protein forward or asking for more protein when you're getting a bowl or a salad or a wrap or things like that. The next one is bring protein and snacks with you everywhere. Always, always, always have backup protein so you can have a plan B if you aren't able to get enough in your meals depending where you're going. So remember, protein is super important for keeping you full, for stabilizing your blood sugars, keeping your energy up. It's going to help reduce cravings and just overall really help you stay on track. So again, we've talked about different proteins that you can carry with you. But I remember when we went to Universal Studios a few years ago with some of the women on our team, we all had our little fanny packs and we all had a cheese string and some turkey pepperonis that we brought with us and a protein bar so that we would have protein snacks on us when we were in line for rides and stuff like that, to help us maintain our energy so we weren't having energy crashes and cravings, to keep us full longer. It worked out really great. And nobody thought it was weird because we are all the same. We all think the same way that way. And then, of course, when in doubt, just estimate. You are never going to be super perfect, right? You're not going to bring a scale with you to a restaurant like you can if you want, but I'm personally not going to do that, right? So learning how to eyeball and use hand portions will help you estimate where you're at, and just do your best to track and always choose a little bit more because we tend to underestimate how much we're eating. And if we're eating out, they're always adding butter and oils and things like that. So always choose something that's 100 calories more than the average to help you get a better estimation of where you're at. When you're using, because not all places are going to have nutrition facts, right? Not all restaurants are going to list that information online or on their menus. So make sure that you overestimate because naturally human beings will underestimate with food. Always, we still do this. Even with protein, I think that's 2 ounces. And then I look and it's 1.5. And I'm darn, it's very, very hard to do. So make sure that you are overestimating everything and then slightly underestimate your protein because that's just naturally how we how we work, right? We want to be closer to where we want to be. So we just guess closer, right? There are some other non-tracking app tips for staying on track while traveling for the summer. So focus on consistency while you're there. Remember, consistency does not equal perfect. That is not what we're saying. 80% of the time, we want you to stick to what you can control and make those choices. So that morning routine, the walk, focusing on your protein, hydrating, maybe it's getting to the gym, getting your feet up, whatever those things are. But staying on track, because traveling definitely falls in that 10 to 20% of where we're not quote unquote on track, right? It's not as consistent. So really be consistent in the areas that you do have more control over and making those choices. Remember, 1 week isn't going to make or break you, but if it's every single meal we're not prioritizing protein, things can go sideways pretty fast. So really prioritize those habits and pillars that you're working so hard on. When you are eating or cooking, focus on lean proteins and veggies, aka get that fiber in. Protein will keep you full longer, so will your fiber. It'll help you with your digestion as well, which we all know we struggle with when we travel. As a team, we always laugh because all of us struggle with digestion when we travel. So someone will go to the restroom and we're like, did you poop? And we'll be like, yeah. And we're like, yay, so excited. Because we're all very open about that stuff and it is a big struggle. Carbs and fat are going to be so much easier to come by. So really focusing on that protein, the fruits, the veggies, the fiber, that's going to be really, really important. And make sure you're eating that protein first before diving into those, the carbs. Have your veggies and your protein first, just to help with your blood sugar control, to again, keep those cravings at bay, because it's already very tempting to want to have the ice cream and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with having it, but if you're not prioritizing protein and fiber, it can make those cravings pretty intense, and then we can start to get out of control around those things. So again, we're just focusing on making better choices where we can, controlling what we can to set ourselves up for success and still be able to enjoy your summer. Self-care is going to be a priority as well, right? We all know that things come up. Sleepless nights, or we stay up later, we're visiting, or things like that, right? Even on vacation, we can get stressed out. And being away from your daily routine and your environment can cause that stress response to be a little bit higher in your body. So we still need to prioritize that self-care and what that looks like for you. So focusing on getting that good quality sleep. Getting those feet up to help bring blood flow from your legs back to your gut, to help with digestion, to help lower those cortisol levels, to bring your heart rate down, right? These are all things that are going to be helpful. Maybe you're going to book a massage when you're on vacation. That'd be amazing. Maybe you're just going to relax and lay out in the sun and read a book. Do things to fill up your cup, to lower your heart rate, to help you relax, bring those stress levels down. And that'll allow you to have more energy to spend time with your family and friends, to do activity. And when you're not stressed out, it's easier to make healthier choices. When you're exhausted and you're not sleeping well and you're stressed out, you don't want to eat a salad. Whereas if you're feeling good and calm and relaxed, much easier to want to have a salad, right? So we have to make sure that we're working with you. And that'll also help with your immune system as well. So all things to consider there. And of course, being mindful is super important because summer is meant to be enjoyed, right? This is the point, is to enjoy your time. But sometimes it's very tempting to equate enjoying yourself with overindulging, right? Or over drinking. So focus on how you will feel if you do those things, right? So eating your face off and having ridiculous amounts of ice cream or having a terrible hangover will make you feel like garbage, which is the exact opposite of enjoying yourself. You're not enjoying time with your friends and your family in the sun if you're hungover. You are trying to hide out, be somewhere cold, you're grumpy, you're tired, right? That's not a good time. But tracking everything that you're doing also isn't enjoyable, right? Having to track every little bite, lick, taste that you have. So in order to stay on track, we need to be mindful of your food choices and view it as an opportunity to grow and learn and use the tools that you've been learning. And then focus on moderation, right? Summer can be a great time to practice all these things that you've been working on all year long. So remind yourself that you can do it. If you make a mistake, it's just one day. The most important thing is that you don't let it snowball to doing the same mistake over and over and over. Just get right back on track the next day. Super easy. No need to overcompensate. Don't need to beat yourself up from it. Just learn from it, move on, get back to normal. No big deal. Staying active, of course, just like planning for workouts. Break up your downtime with activities like walks and hikes and water activities, outdoor activities, playing ladder golf, all those things, right? So workouts at the gym or outside. There's so many things that you can do to be active in the summertime, and just encourage your family members to do it with you. It can be a great time to, build some relationships, have good conversation. And if you can't fit in your workouts, do not overstress about them, right? Just be mindful to get some activity in some way, shape, or form. Like we said, 1 week isn't going to completely derail everything for you. The next one, which is a big one, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more here, is manage your expectations. So knowing what to expect can make a huge difference in terms of you staying on track. You likely are not going to make a ton of fat loss progress when you're on vacation or traveling, right? But that doesn't mean you have to move backwards. So your priority during travel should be to, 1, enjoy yourself, very important, and then trying to stay on track and maintain. We're not working to make these crazy leaps forward. Forward movement during the summer for you might just be maintaining the progress that you've already made and minimizing any additional fat gain while still enjoying yourself. But be realistic in those expectations. Is it realistic to think that you're going to lose a bunch of weight if you're out of your routine and we're not prioritizing things and we're on vacation and things come up? You have to be realistic of what those expectations are and be aware of that, because otherwise you're just going to be really disappointed and feel guilty and frustrated. So maintaining over holidays, that is a huge win, and that shouldn't negate you from having fun. You should be enjoying yourself on this time off. It's really important. The next one is give yourself a drink limit. So limit the drinks daily or throughout the week to reduce the alcohol consumption while still enjoying your time, because we can get very carried away on a patio or on the beach, right? Very, very easy. So make sure that if you are tracking, you're still tracking your alcohol too, right? It's very easy to get carried away in that hot weather and those cold, refreshing, wonderful mojitos and sangria are it's just so good, right? But you can opt for some other non-alcoholic drinks like bubbly water, for example. And I actually just found at Save on Foods here in Canada. But I'm sure there's a bajillion different kinds like that, what I'm going to be talking about here in the States, because you guys have everything and more than what we have. But I found some alcohol-free mojitos, alcohol-free margaritas, and they're really good. And they're only 30 calories and there's only a couple ingredients in them. They taste really good. And I'm still getting the taste that I want, but I'm not getting the negative effects from alcohol, like increasing my cortisol and bloating and fluid retention, increasing my stress response, negatively affecting my estrogen and testosterone levels. So this is very, it's great. It still tastes the same. It doesn't matter that it's not alcohol, right? So good. I'm probably going to stick with these forever now that I found them. And now the next one is do not punish yourself. Okay. So that barbecue maybe didn't go the way you wanted, maybe July 4th got away on you, or you're waking up and you're still full and hungover from the last day. Don't punish yourself. What's the point in that? You learn and you move on. Just get right back on track. Get back to your routine the next day. Just don't let it become into a week of shame and guilt and feeling terrible and saying, screw it, I already messed up. I may as well just continue on this path. Just don't let that snowball, because that is what will ruin your progress. Not one day, it's the effect of cumulative days in a row, right? So just get back to where you were before. Not a big deal. And remember that the scale might go up in summertime. Dun, dun, dun. I know that's the worst thing someone could say to you, right? But eating and drinking things you don't typically have, sitting for longer periods of time in a car or a plane, or in the sun, you're tanning, right? You're not sleeping in the same routine like you usually do. Digestion is off. Maybe you're dehydrated. This is going to cause some fluid retention, some bloating, right? And that can be affected on the scale when you get home. This is normal. Okay? It will take a few days for your body to regulate coming back from your holidays and your trips. So do not punish yourself when you get home from vacation. Go back to your routine. The scale will normalize. It can take up to a week for some people, for bowels to get back on track. We got our fiber and protein back on track, our sleep back on track, our movement back on track. It takes time. Okay, so don't worry, you didn't gain like 5 pounds of fat on vacation. It's mostly water retention, and maybe you're backed up and constipated. That will improve. Do not panic, but be aware that the scale might show that when you come back, right? So just set those realistic expectations. And the most important of all the things that I'm talking about here today is make sure you enjoy your time. Make sure you make memories and are present with the people around you. That is what this opportunity of summer is for, when you have the time to spend with the people that you love. I do not want anyone to look back and only remember how much they were focused on not eating certain foods, or how guilty they felt after a family dinner, or how they felt bad for having that s'more, because your kid probably loved sharing that memory of having s'mores with you, right? Enjoy your time. Work on being present and be where your feet are. Always remember that the more that we try to mentally restrict things, okay, I'm not going to go into dinner and I'm not going to have the mashed potatoes or the stuffing or dessert because I had XYZ. That's just going to cause your brain to hyper-focus more on those things, on what you're not allowing yourself to have, right? So just do everything in moderation. Enjoy those things, double up on protein, drink your water. You're going to be fine. I hope that you enjoy the dessert. I hope you enjoy the s'mores. I hope you enjoy creating these memories. Take the pictures, because you never know when that's all you have left. And this is something that I cannot tell you enough of. Because since my mom passed away a couple years ago now, I wish I had more pictures with her. I wish I would have taken more time to be where my feet were with her, and not be focused so much on certain food things or aesthetics, or not wanting to be in pictures I didn't like that I was bloated that day. I wish I had more of that. And when I think back of our summers together, I think of the disastrous camping trip we had. I think of making our little bush pies and hot dogs over the fire. I remember going swimming and my sister getting a leech on her foot, which was super funny. For me, funny for me, not for her. She was not happy. It was a little tragic. We figured it out. But it's those are the things that I remember more. And having those memories and being where your feet are and just being in that moment and taking the pictures and having that good relationship and the conversations that you have, that's what matters most. Okay, so just give yourself a couple pillars that you're going to focus on. Maybe it's protein and fruit. Maybe it's protein and veggies and water. Maybe it's making sure you get your feet up every night. Maybe it's making sure that you're still, doing something for your morning or bedtime routine. Maybe it's doing a family walk, whatever that looks like. But, just figure out what those pillars are for you, and then just enjoy and be there, because that's more important than anything else will ever be. So I hope this was helpful. I hope there was some tips and tricks in here that you will be able to apply and use on your travels, whether it's during summertime or not. If you have any questions, please let me know. And again, we do have that giveaway going on, so make sure you apply for those 3 months of free coaching. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye.